Hey guys, and welcome to the Fish Room. I'm Rachel O'Leary and it's time for a Tuesday tip. This week I thought I would take you around the fish room and show you my top 5 favorite low light, easy to grow, bomb-proof aquarium plants. So let's get started. My number 5 favorite plant is water primrose, and this is a plant that is native all over the US. It grows marginally or underwater, generally on the banks of streams. And it's also called Ludwigia repens. I think it is without a doubt a super easy stem plant. And I don't work with many stems because I'm not interested in doing a bunch of high-tech tanks. I don't often use a ton of substrate, but when I do, I like to use this plant because it's a low-light plant that can get some decent red to it, which can add a nice pop of color. Now this was grown immersed, that means out of the water, and you can see how big those leaves are. But even in just a week, you can see the new growth that has occurred, and it gets a nice coppery red color. Now this plant doesn't require CO2 inverts. Of course it would benefit from it, but I find that I can grow it even in my low light aquariums. And it grows quickly, which means it's a good nutrient exporter. You can use it in the background, the midground, or if you're keen on pruning a lot, even in the foreground. And to replant this, you simply cut off the top and stick it back in the substrate, and it will reroot very quickly, making it an ideal candidate for a low-tech planted aquarium. My second favorite plant is Java fern, specifically needle leaf Java fern. It is versatile. It's very slow growing, but I think it adds a nice texture. I think it's especially well suited to smaller aquariums because of the scale of the leaves. It's one that you do not want to plant in substrate, so it's perfect for my fish room in that I can either super glue it to wood or rocks, or even just let it sit in the tank. It's slow to propagate, meaning it's slow to spread, but it's really, really easy, and I even grow it in tanks that don't have direct lighting, just ambient room lighting. I think it's really fantastic and an excellent choice for the beginning planted aquarist. My next favorite plant is African water fern. You know, it has a reputation of being kind of picky, but I find that, you know, while it does like areas of flow, it's not really required. Sometimes this plant just takes a couple months to really settle in. But once it does, while it's a slow grower, it definitely has a unique texture. But it's really important to remember that this plant gets huge. Huge. So you definitely don't want to put it in the front of your tank or orient it up high in your tank. You want to orient it low so that it has room to grow. I really think that the unique frond shape makes this plant exceptional, not only because of its beauty, but it's very useful in an aquarium as a spawning mop for a lot of fish. The new growth comes from the rhizome, or that lateral finger-like structure, and is generally pretty bright green. This is a plant that doesn't want a ton of light, or else it'll become prone to algae. But all in all, it's just a gorgeous plant. My next favorite plant, number 2 on the list, are Anubias. Now, Anubias are native to Africa, where they grow predominantly on the edges of rivers and streams. They can grow out of the water or underwater. When they're grown out of the water, the leaf structure is really, really massive, but once they convert to underwater, there's quite a few species that are super tiny. The one in the middle here is Anubias Barteri nana, and it's probably one of the more popular aquarium plants in the hobby simply because it's so easy. I also cultivate a ton of the one on the left there, which is Anubias nana petite, and that happens to be my absolute favorite. Now these guys are slow growing, producing a couple leaves a month, but they get a nice rich green color. They can be attached to wood or rock, and I really think they're just very, very beautiful. And again, I've grown these in tanks with no light, all the way up into my higher light tanks. Now, if you're going to put them in a tank that has higher powered light, you want to make sure you give them little areas of shade or they're very prone to algae. But just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful choice for the beginner planted aquarium, and especially for shrimp tanks. The number one on my list are Buces, and you know, they have really taken the hobby by storm, and I think they're a bit ridiculously expensive, but they're in the same family of Anubias, and what I really, really love about them is that, to me anyway, they're just as easy, if not easier than Anubias, but you get a lot of variety in the color and the shape of the leaves, which gives you great ways to provide texture in areas of interest in your planted aquariums. I have them in this little tiny tank, you can see in the middle there, and now I'll go show them to you in my big tank. In this tank I have quite a few varieties of Buce. There's this one, which happens to be my favorite. I believe this is Centipede. You can see another piece down there. This massive, massive grouping of it. I have another one up here that creates that awesome island. And then I have some smaller varieties that I've shoved into the crevices of the wood. Now this plant is one that is becoming more and more available, but they're really easy to propagate and flower, and I just find them to be super rewarding and very beautiful. You can see a flower starting on that one there, and you know, whenever a plant flowers, you feel like you're doing something right. I really think that Buces add a lot of visual interest and just elegance to an aquarium. You can see they grow here, and again, they creep along wood. You can attach them to stone. You can put them at all heights of your aquarium, and they're just really, really gorgeous. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing some of my favorite plants. Now, a lot of these plants I've been working with for many, many years. And when I say they're easy, trust me, they're easy. Most of them can be found through other hobbyists, sometimes even at local fish stores, as well as from online retailers. Plants make your tank more beautiful and your fish more comfortable. And in my mind, they're always an excellent choice. Let me know below what your favorite aquarium plants are. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And make sure you stop by my Facebook as well as my website, MsJinx.com, where you can find my upcoming speaking engagements, my current stock list, and information on all things nano. As always, if you have any comments, suggestions, or questions, let me know below.